Hello, Cinema Peeps!
Hello!
Hey Cinema Peeps, welcome back to another Talkie Tuesday.
Hey, Cinema Peeps!
Hey Cinema Peeps, welcome to another episode of Talkie Tuesday.
My lord.
My lord, I still feel like my face is a little red, but you know, nothing we could do about that. Hello, Cinema Peeps!
Hey, Cinema Peeps.
Oof. It is cold. My feet were wet,
Ugh.
but now I have a blankie, so feeling a little
Nice
better
and
now,
toasty.
right?
Excellent. Yes, the
didn't-
weather's dreary today.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize spring showers meant spring's flurries. I forgot
Right?
that memo.
It's like, it's supposed to be plus 3 degrees, but I didn't realize it was still that cold outside that we could, that we could still have snow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for the audience, you probably... Well, I guess the way the podcast has been going, we took a little break, kind of.
We did, yes.
Like I guess technically a month-ish break. But I think for you guys, we've only been gone for 2 weeks. So,
Yeah.
surprise, we're back.
Woohoo! Did you miss us?
Right? The answer should be yes. Absolutely yes. But we were up to personal projects and, just taking a break because people deserve breaks sometimes.
Yes.
But I mean, I was really hoping to have watched a couple movies so I could come back and be like, wow, I did stuff. And I was like, I did none of that.
Well, I mean, I watched a couple.
See, there I go. I finished Dexter, though. I realized I finished the Dexter book. Dexter and Duck.
Yay!
I finished
Nice.
That was my
Awesome.
big
And?
crowning achievement. It was an interesting book. I was very fearful, I guess, because it was dealing with the whole subject is about his like dark passenger and how there's a murder that occurs that like causes the dark passenger to like go away and just like dip. And so Dexter is struggling to figure out who he is and also like what was that thing inside of him. As he says in the book multiple times, he kind of took it for granted because now he has no idea what it is, how to bring it back, and But it was really interesting, actually. I was very nervous because I was like, it was like religious stuff. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But
yeah.
I think overall it was really well done. It was very clean and precise. Really expands on the lore of the Dark Passenger and also kind of explained, and like in this universe, I guess, in the books, how like there's people like Dexter who have like a Dark Passenger who like stays with them and how some people don't. But they still like have those urges and stuff like that. But that was kind of cool. But the ending though, oh my god. There's like this big climax near the end of the book. I don't want to spoil it too much for people who want to read it, but it involves like Aster and Cody being in trouble, but they're the ones who end up saving Dexter.
Oh, okay.
Which is very interesting. And of course, at the end of not quite at the end of the book, but I think this happens in the epilogue where Dexter's getting married to Rita. There's this whole thing where he's talking about how she's walking down the aisle and how the sorry, let me just backtrack a little bit. So, like I said, there's some people who seem to have a dark passenger, and some people where like the entity of like a dark passenger kind of like borrows the human body for like a hot minute, but then doesn't always stay.
Okay.
And some actually like stay and with the host in a way. And so, but in order for that to happen, you have to kind of have a very traumatic event happen to you. So again, that plays into like his childhood, and that's why it sticks around. And that's why Cody has one now. And he's very in tune with it as well at a young age. But yeah, so basically when he's going up against, in the book it's called the Watcher for a while, is who the enemy is, but then it turns out to be this I'm probably gonna say this wrong, a Muckluck character, who I guess is like the original Dark Passenger in a way, and it's a god. And it had like, it was there like beginning of time kind of thing, and how it kind of grew and manifested, and how it got so big, it created more of it. So in a way, Dexter's passenger is from this original guy, but the only difference is that it decided to bail and not continue to worship this god. So there's some core people are part of this group, but there are many that are kind of just scattered around the world. And so in the book, this Mucklock character and his cult is kind of going after Dexter and trying to kill him, but essentially kill the Dark Passenger that's with him.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. And so at the end of the book, when they kind of succeed, but not really, because like I said, they seem to be able to like possess people's bodies. So
Yeah.
you could kill the person, but like it just kind of goes and inhabited something else.
Wow, it's like a weird Annabelle like twist.
Yeah.
Instead of it like every time and you ask the like in with Annabelle, it's like it the entity is in this doll, but the doll being that it's like attached to the doll, you have to ask or it asks permission to enter your home kind of thing, but it's actually like feeding on your soul kind of thing. So it's like a weird, kind of like horror movie type
yum
plot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, Dexter was kind of hoping if he kind of solved the mystery, figure out how to bring it back. But this Mucklock character, or Mulak character, it's weird because they also call him Melk because there's a tattoo they find with MLK. So they're like, is it just Melk without the I? But then they realize that it's from a oh my god, not East Asian, but from an Arabic language.
Okay.
Where they don't use vowels. So that's where they come with Mucklock or Mulak or whatever. I feel I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I know I probably am. But anyway, so when this character and Dexter kind of have their final meeting at the end of the book, he says that so the Dark Passenger comes in times of like great distress. So their goal was to put Dexter in a situation where he was going to be in great distress so that the passenger would come back so that they could kill both of them. But they are unsuccessful. Yeah. So at the end of in the epilogue, Dexter's getting married and he's thinking about, how much of a mundane life he's going to be leading with Rita and how unfulfilling it's going to be. And he goes, and the pain was just so overwhelming. And then it came back. And then Cody's like, whispers to him, he's like, it's back. And so his passenger comes back because the thought of living an average life was that horrible. I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Which this also makes me laugh because the writer or the author, Jeff Lindsay, all that's in his bio is like loving husband to 2 kids. And I'm like, are you? Do you have something you want to talk about, man? But all jokes aside, I was like, that's fucking weird.
Wow.
That was
Interesting.
the weirdest part of the book for me. I was like, okay.
I mean, it's weird, but I guess knowing Dexter as we know him through the series and stuff like that, it kind of just adds a little more depth. Because I mean, that was something that he always touched on in the show. Was like, oh god, like, how do people live these like regular mundane lives? How do I blend in as normal, kind of thing, right? And then there's that bit there where he's like contemplating, am I really starting to have feelings for Rita and the kids and stuff like that? And he kind of has that moment of like panic.
Yeah.
And so it's in that sense it's kind of interesting because it's like, okay, like
right.
That would be for someone of his, with what he goes through and the things that he, this dark passenger he has, I guess that would be some sort of like threat to his survival, right?
So it was so
weird, yeah.
But even like you said in the show, I think he does eventually grow, even if it's like he grows fond of Rita. So I am curious if that might happen in the books, because as of right now, I don't want to say he uses Rita, like he just uses Rita multiple times, he says, as like a mask to society. Like, yes, see, I am dating, I have marriage, like it's all just like a fake facade. But he really does care about the kids. Yeah. And even in this book, they're, a really big, I was gonna say asset, but that's not right. They're more prominent in this book versus like the first book. Like they're slowly becoming more and more important. So I'm excited to see like kind of where that goes down the line. But I'm on the next book. Let me just, what is it called again? Dexter by Design.
Ah, Dexter by Design. Cool.
I kind of like the other cover better, but this one's still pretty good too.
That is neat, yes.
Right? And I have, and I switched out bookmarks.
Nice.
So for this one, we're going to go with the green arrow.
Ah, hell yeah. Nice.
That'll be very cool. But yeah, I think that was the big excitement for me on my, I guess, time off.
On your hiatus?
On our hiatus. But I mean, I also helped work on a short film, so I guess that also counts.
Yeah, that's
stuff.
exciting.
I did stuff, yeah.
Can you talk about anything, or like not yet?
I mean, I'm sure Sean wouldn't care, but I'll still try to keep a little vague, just for
yeah.
Just for funsies.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like his big final project.
So for everybody who may remember, Sean was a guest on our podcast a few episodes ago, and he was finishing or in the middle of Nobody's Prayer, or he was doing.
It was already done.
Yeah, he was doing like the festival circuit kind of thing for it. And it had just won a bunch of awards and stuff like that, and he was nice enough to come on the podcast and kind of talk about it and how who he is as a filmmaker and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, he has another film that he's just wrapped production on, and
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we decided we have.
Yeah. I guess maybe I won't put words in his mouth, but yeah, and Kaylee got to be a part of it again, and so that's exciting. Yay!
Yeah, I was the slate bitch, as I dubbed it. The slate bitch.
On set, but you're also the editor, which is exciting.
Yes. So, but that, I guess by the time this podcast comes out, I'll probably either be starting on it. So, yeah, I'm really excited. There was a lot of cool, or not visual effects, but more like practical visual effects. We had smoke machines, had burn makeup being done. It all looks really good, gotta say. But it's just really unfortunate that Alberta is like, oh, as we were just talking about the weather, they're like, spring, go fuck yourself. Here's snow.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a challenge I had to work around to kind of make sure like we had shot not all the outside stuff, but a small chunk of it without snow. You know, it was trying to figure out workarounds around that. That was a little bit of a difficulty, but I think I haven't seen any of the dailies, but I think it should be okay.
Nice.
But yeah, there was a lot of cold nights. And I mean, it might have only been like -5, but there was a wind, so it had a bite to it. So
yeah,
standing out in the wind was not pleasurable. But weirdly, on it wasn't Good Friday. It was the Thursday before Good Friday. We had to do some more shooting outside, but then it just started to snow.
Oh jeez.
But there was no wind, so it was actually probably one of the warmest night shoots we did, which is bizarre to think about.
Yeah.
But it had like that really nice magical snow where it's like big boys, but you know, just like the way it moves is really nice. So
yeah, big flakes.
Yeah, and then we had a little campfire outside and we had some s'mores in the snow. We're like, hey, fuck it, let's do it.
Nice.
And it was a lot of fun. And one of our crew members, she had never had a s'more before. So we're like, well, now's the time, baby.
Wow, that's cool.
So it was really magical. We didn't have any graham crackers, but we used Dad's cookies, which I gotta say was actually really good.
Yes.
We did have like I had some like Aero chocolate. Sean had some chocolate bars for us. Oh yeah, he was very good on Crafty. Him and his partner Ken, fantastic on Crafty. They made sure we were fed well, so thank you. We appreciate it. It was really good. But yeah, there was like chocolate bars in Crafty, so we used that and the desk cookies from Crafty, and to make these s'mores.
Nice. That sounds awesome.
It was. I would have argued we probably didn't need like the chocolate, just because it was Dad's oatmeal chocolate chip cookie. So I would have argued maybe we didn't need it, but really, like, I'm not gonna say no to chocolate.
Extra chocolate, right?
Right. And then we were talking about how celebration cookies are the superior s'mores combination for
yeah.
Because it's the cookie and the chocolate.
Yeah. I was gonna say that.
Fantastic.
Also, too, like, side note, my dad really loves like the chocolate covered marshmallow candies that they usually hand out around, like, they have them at Christmas time, they have them at Easter. I don't know if they have them at any other occasions, but lately, like, they've not been around anywhere.
Okay.
Like, my dad hasn't been able to find them, so we finally found some at Shoppers Drug Mart, and he's all excited about it. But back to the point is those would be really good to use for, like, s'mores too, because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just, like, chocolate-covered marshmallow already,
Already half the work done.
right? You
Oh,
just sandwich it together, toast it, and, like, you're good.
I was gonna say, you probably couldn't do it over a fire, but yeah, if you, like, if you had to do it at home or something, that would be
Mhm.
perfect to do
Yeah,
at
right?
home. But yeah, it was a great time. There was no divas on set, so that was very nice.
Nice.
And everyone was a really, I was gonna say, a chill penguin to work with. I don't know why, but we were all very chill, and it was
Chill
great.
penguins.
Chill penguin. Although there was a sleeping bear.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The
Like a legit one?
yeah.
Really? Oh, God.
Yeah, they were just exploring the property, and I would have argued that this wasn't a good place for bears, but I'm not gonna tell a bear what not to fucking do. So we dubbed the bear as Shirley the bear. So anytime we were kind of just like, man, filming so long, we'd be like, Shirley, we have a treat for you. Come eat the crew members.
Nice.
But yeah, overall, I mean, it was fun to work on something again, and I am doubly excited to edit it. So
Yay.
I'm looking forward to that next month. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time.
That's awesome. We wish you all the luck with that.
Thank you, and we'll keep you guys
And
updated. The best.
yeah, yeah. I'm
But,
excited to see it when it comes out. I definitely want to see it.
Me too. I'm excited to see it too. But if you are curious, free plugin. There's an entity Facebook page where you can see all our fun photos, and Sean does a really good job of keeping it up to date on what's happening with the project. So
Nice.
if you're curious to follow along, it's the entity Facebook on the Facebook page.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the description below if anybody wants
Hell
to
yeah.
go give that a like and support our fellow filmmaking friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what was my thought? But yeah, you said you actually watched movies.
I did. I watched a couple.
What did you
One's not as exciting as the other, but I mean,
That's
we've
fine.
already talked a little bit about one, but I watched The Batman finally. I went to theaters and saw it. So we could dive into that.
Hell yeah.
And then I watched a movie on Netflix called Metal Lords.
I feel like I saw a promo for it.
Probably.
Was it oh, hold on. It's two guys, and then the one
Yep.
guy's like, hey, girl, you should join our band.
Yep.
With this guy who's older and maybe shouldn't be hanging around high school kids anymore. And they're like nerds or something. Yeah. Yeah. That was the plot, right?
Pretty close. Yeah, you got about three-fourths of it.
Yes. Nailed it.
But yeah, no, it was. I think it was supposed to kind of be like a modern day School of Rock kind of thing. Not to a T, but like let's bring back appreciation for the metal music kind of thing, right? So it's the story about these two friends, and one guy is like super hardcore metal rocker. He's got the long hair, the jean jacket, like everything. He's got the whole look, and his best friend is he's like not as big a fan, but he's his friend, so obviously he supports him. And he's so he's trying to the main guy, the metal guy, he's like trying to start a metal band. Like, I want to do this. We gotta keep the spirit of metal alive and everything. And so he recruits his best friend to play drums, but but the best friend only knows how to play like marching band drum. So he's he doesn't know how to do like metal, like rock music drumming and stuff like that. So that's kind of the humor at the beginning of the thing. So he ends up learning how to play drums. He's really good at like just learning by ear, so he ends up learning how to play a bunch of like metal songs. And then the majority of the movie is them trying to find a bass player.
Oh,
And
that's
there's-
what it is. She's a bass
Yeah.
player. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to find a bass player, and for whatever reason, the main guy, the metal guy, is just so adamant on it being like a dude. It needs to be a dude. He needs to fit the look. He needs to be hardcore. He needs to be super talented. That's what we need, is this bass, like a really super talented bassist. And the drummer guy, he befriends this girl who's also in band, and she's like a really talented cello player. But she's kind of like insecure, and I think she has, I don't know if it's Tourette's that she has, but she has some sort of condition where she just lashes out. Like if you really like, if you get her mad, she's like, "Rah!" Like she just gets really and everything. So the two of them end up like falling in love. And he
Classic.
keeps trying to like push his best friend to like, come on, like she's really good, like have her in the band. And like there's this whole thing with that, and he's like, no, 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 she's not hardcore enough, kind of thing. And then by the end of it, they end up like all becoming friends and like inviting her into the band, and like they shred it at the talent show and everything.
Oh,
Like
thank God
it
there's a
was
talent show.
right. Oh yeah, there's a battle of the bands and
Oh,
everything.
hell
Like
yeah.
and I think the weirdest part of it all is like at one point there's like a low point where like the two of them like they stop being friends for
Of
a second. They
course.
have a fight.
Of course.
They have a fight and they like, go on their way. So the drummer kid, he goes to a party and he gets super drunk and he's like, "Oh man, like what am I doing? Like he's my best friend. I should help him, and I don't know, but like he really pissed me off." And then like he's sitting in the hot tub and he's like having this like hallucination. And it's like
Oh no.
all these band members from like they're legit band members from like Metallica, like all of these bandmates are like, "Yeah, man, this is your best friend. Like you gotta help him. Like don't give up on him." And like they're just trying to give him like this pep talk, and it's just kind of like, what is going on? Like, oh man, I
That's
highly
so funny.
recommend it for a good few laughs. It is funny. Like it's
Mhm.
definitely got a lot of good like funny moments in it, but the story's very like woo woo woo. Like it's very confusing in some aspects. I think the thing that irked me the most though was that, and I guess this is just Hollywood, or like I don't know if it was just the portrayal. Side note, the person who wrote slash directed the movie is like one of the guys who did Game of Thrones. So I guess
Okay.
that's the big hype for this or whatever.
Right. I think I
But
remember that. Yeah.
yeah. But the thing that kind of irked me the most is that at least the Metal Lord guy, like he lives in like this big, huge, rich, fancy house. Like majority of these people were like portrayed to look like they all just live in like these big, rich houses and stuff like that. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know, whatever, but nobody grows up like that kind of thing, right? And it didn't really have any major importance to the story other than he like stole his dad's credit card to like pay for the drum set that he bought his friend to like play on and stuff like that. So it's just kind of a weird like thing that to me just kind of didn't fit with the storyline, being that he was such a like hardcore metal guy. It's just like, oh, he's just some rich wannabe. That's the vibe I was getting. But anyways,
I see.
yeah,
It's
that
the
was
classic.
my only note.
Right. It's the classic. I have monies, but money can't buy everything in life or something. Da da da. I want to be more than my parents' wealth. Da 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 da.
Yeah,
Da 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 da.
I want to do my own thing, and yeah,
Praise the rock lords.
yeah, stick it to the man.
Yeah. Nailed it. Nailed.
Yeah, but
No wait.
yeah, that would be my only
Oh,
note.
this.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I was getting really
Like-
confused. I was like,
yeah. Well, that's Hang Loose.
brah. I
Yeah.
lost. I lost.
Shaka shaka. Yeah, but that would be my only like note that really didn't make too like it wasn't that big of an issue, but I just kind of thought that was a little confusing. But yeah,
Right.
it's a funny movie. I enjoyed it. I had a few laughs out of it, so if you see it on Netflix as you're scrolling through and looking for something to watch, give it a try. If you knew
few
of
laughs.
any or you hung around any of the metal kids in school, or if you were a metal kid in school, you'll definitely get a kick out of it.
I was neither. I was not cool enough.
I hung around a few of them, so I got a kick out of it. Yeah.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Oh, this reminds me. I did watch Is It Cake on Netflix.
Oh, Is It Cake? Yeah.
That was a weird one. Such a weird. I mean, like I understand the appeal on like a TikTok or a short video format because it is
Mm.
cool to be like, is that cake? And then they like cut through it and you're like, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there are people who are going to be very, very talented and doing all kinds of stuff in the bakery world, whether it be super realistic or just like clean cut. designs, but
Mm-hmm.
the show was just, it's one you have in the far background if you're vacuuming or something, just cuz.
Yeah.
I don't know, the structure was kind of weird. I wasn't a fan of, mostly cuz I feel like if I were to make the show, I would have it centered more around challenges for them, in a sense of like they did have challenges, but it was like they had to obviously make something to blend in with a bunch of objects,
Oh, okay.
but the part that we didn't get to really see a lot of, which I would have loved to see, is them actually making the cake, or seeing what techniques they use to make it look more realistic and not like cake.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
But I feel like they cut a lot of that out, so as an audience member, you two could guess which one it was at the end, I guess. And I would have much rather watched them do that process.
Yeah.
Than try to guess. And like, I guess what also irked me in a way was that the judges were mostly like comedians, and like, if it was like, there was one about like clothing, so they had like a fashion designer on. And like, no shade against any of them, but it's just like there was no one who was an expert on like cakes. Which it felt like you need at least one person. And it kind of just felt like a zoo. Like a lot of them actually knew, like, kind of was able to be like pick out differences, especially if they were like the fashion people. They're like, oh, that's not how this material would reflect in this light or something.
Yeah.
But they were at least maybe like 5 feet away from the stage, maybe more. And they had 20 seconds to guess. So I know it didn't feel like it, but it felt like an eternity of them just screaming at each other, being like, well, which one is it? And I guess that's where the comedy was supposed to be.
Okay.
But I found it like very disruptive and just like too chaotic to enjoy.
Yeah.
And then they're not really making guesses. They're just like, we have to pick one because we have 20 seconds left. Or we only have 20 seconds and we're down to 2. So just pick one.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of time, like some of the bakers I don't think should have gotten away with it. But I think because of the chaos, a lot of them slipped through. So I wasn't a humongous fan of that.
Interesting.
And the host was a little weird. He's one of the guys on SNL. Can't think of his name.
Yeah.
I really hope that the show wrote his material, because it was kind of painful at times to
Awkward.
witness. So I was a little disappointed. I mean, I enjoyed watching like and seeing the hard work that the cake masters did. I thought it was really cool. I just kind of wish the show was different.
I wonder if they were trying to like pull inspiration from like Nailed It.
I think so.
For comedy, at least.
Maybe.
And it takes a certain kind of person to like have that energy and pull that off for like what they're doing. And I like Nicole Byer did an excellent job for that, because I mean,
phenomenal.
She was literally just having to sit there and try to like, keep the energy up with these people who did not know how to bake, and like just try to keep it lighthearted and funny, but also just like laugh at just the shit show that was happening in front of her.
Right. And I mean, right in that one, you can also argue, oh, like they have a time limit. But it's like 2 hours to make a cake. And so watching the contestants be like, oh, I got 2. Oh, no. And watching them like eventually start breaking down and being like, trying to be like really creative and be like, I'm going to use licorice for this now or something, Like,
or
that
like
to me is funny.
Yeah. Or the 3 of them would sit there and then she'd just kind of like lean over to one of them and be like, what is he doing over there? And then they would like just kind of zoom in and be like, oh, he's got it in the wrong spot. And yeah. Like that was the humor, and it was funny.
Right, and I like that because you have Jacques, who is a chocolatier, a French pastry man, and then you have Nicole Byer. And I mean, you could argue like, yeah, she's the host of the show and she's a comedian, but even, I mean, I'm obviously a diehard of Nailed It, but watching her grow with the show, like you can see that she wants to like learn, like, oh, what does this mean? How do you do this? And like, you can even tell from her critiques she's getting better and better.
Yeah.
And that's like fun to watch. And then again, their third guest is maybe it's a friend or generally it is a comedian, but and then it kind of, I feel, balances out really well, because then you have Jacques being like, oh, like you really need to temper the chocolate, or oh no, that's raw. And then the comedian's like, ooh, woohoo, and they just bounce off each other really well.
Yeah.
Whereas I just didn't feel that same energy with the host sometimes. Like some of them are fun to listen to and they had nice quips, but Yeah, just the way they set it up, I wasn't a humongous fan of.
Yeah.
But
I
I
always
mean,
liked Nicole when she Wes.
right, and then he and himself became a character on the
Yeah,
show.
he became a joke on
know?
the show, and that was funny.
So yeah, I think in a way, I think you might be right in terms of like they're trying to make a nailed it, right? Like I think
Yeah.
every new show they're trying to copy a formula of something that has already worked for Netflix. But
Yeah.
like the reason it worked is because it was like, oh, this was the first on this platform.
Yeah.
You know? So if you're trying to essentially cookie cutter it, you get weird results.
Right?
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, you really, I'm sure they didn't really know what to expect when they first started doing the Nailed It thing. They just thought this would be a funny, kind of entertaining concept for people to watch.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like they just kind of were flexible enough to like roll with where it kind of grew and evolved. And yeah, that's what made it so entertaining, right?
Right. And again, I harshly critiquing, you know, is it cake? You know, it only has one season, so
Yeah.
obviously comparing that to a Nailed It is drastically different, but
Yeah.
it's just like,
And I mean,
like if there's a season 2, it's gonna be on the background for me. I'm just gonna be like,
oh yeah.
there we go.
And I mean, not to bag on like the host or anything like that. I know just because he's tied to Saturday Night Live, I just feel like Saturday Night Live's kind of like really plummeted downhill within the last like few years. It's been. I don't know if it's just because the new generation of people have a different style of comedy or like they're looking for that. Like it's to me, it like they're trying to find a weird balance. This is the vibe I get from them. It's like they're trying to find that balance of recreating the iconic jokes and moments from like past SNL skits, but then also trying to find their own footing.
Yeah.
Instead of just like working so much on their craft and being just funny. Like they're trying hard to like find that balance. And I'm wondering, I don't know if there's any more factors at play, like because comedy has, especially in the last few years, has kind of like taken a real like hit because of, there's some sensitive subjects, cancel culture, all those kinds of things, COVID and that kind of stuff. And then just I don't know if like SNL itself, like the ratings are starting to go down, so they're trying to find like reasons to keep people watching or whatever. But
there's definitely
just
a weird balance to it.
Yeah.
A YouTuber, Drew Gooden, did a really good video on is SNL funny? ? And answering this question of like where people are like, SNL hasn't been funny since the 80s or, and such reasons. And he actually watches a good chunk of each season and does like a really good analysis on all of them.
Oh, really?
And it's really interesting to see because I mean, a big part of it is just nostalgia. Like wherever you like are like, oh, like this is peak SNL is going to be different from someone else. Because like, again, people like I joined kind of the SNL very late with a lot of just their YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
And that's when they had a lot of the new cast, like Kate McKinnon, Vanessa Bayer, and all those guys. And I thought they were fantastic. And I was like, these guys are great. And yet people are like, oh no, it's garbage. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I think these are great. But people who grow up with I'm trying to think, like Will Ferrell and like Andy Samberg and like all those guys,
Jimmy Fallon,
have a totally different opinion because that's what they grew up in. And a big part of it is that transitional period where they lose cast members because I mean, you always forget that like SNL is a live show and they do it all in a week, which is insane. So yeah they're gonna write skits that flop because you have a week. Like not all of them are gonna be gold. But again, they're trying to then, with these new cast members, figure out how do you write to their strengths. So there is that weird transitional period, like kind of like what you're talking about, where it's like they want to create magic that maybe happened with older cast members and they know that's worked in the past, but maybe with the new talent they've hired, it just doesn't jive. So they have to figure out what material works with this new cast. And again, fighting with the idea of like trying to still stay relevant. So
yeah. Which is why I think a majority of it probably has to do with it's just a new generation of comedy. Think of like just before this kind of new group. Like you said, you got Kate McKinnon, Adie Bryant, I think is her name.
Yes.
Like they
so funny.
Solely you could just look at their facial expression and it's funny. Like they just have that type of persona or that character.
Yeah.
And whereas like I don't know if it's just they don't have enough of those guys, or if like majority of the other guys on the show, they're more they more kind of their strength is I don't know, it's weird, just like they're just not goofy enough for me, I
But
don't
that's
think.
the thing, right?
They,
Like,
yeah.
they're gonna have their different strengths and weaknesses, and what you find
Yeah.
appealing is not gonna be appealing to somebody else. So
Exactly,
that
yeah.
is that is tough. So I mean, I've never
It
been
is.
on the boat of like SNL's never been good or SNL sucks. I was a Mad TV girl when I first when
Yeah.
YouTube was a big thing. Like I loved Mad TV and I watched their clips on YouTube. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until many moons later that I was watching clips of SNL on YouTube. I don't think I've watched a full episode of SNL ever. I've
Really?
just watched the clips on YouTube. And really, that's kind of like how I like it, because then I can kind of pick and choose, like, oh, what do I want to watch? Whereas,
Mhm.
yeah, I bet you if I watched an episode, I'm sure there's one or two skits I'd be like, oh, this is really funny. And some I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep. So yeah, it is this weird balance of trying to figure out how do you work to these people's strengths and weaknesses and somehow write a show in a week. I would just be like, all right, today's skit is me sleeping on the couch because I have no ideas. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I praise the fact that SNL's been doing this. And didn't they celebrate, was it 40 or 50 years? Like,
They celebrated
semi-recently.
40 years a while ago, because that was
Okay.
still when was Jimmy Fallon still on the show then? No, he would have still had his own. There was a couple, I think it was
I
I
feel
don't
like they
even know.
celebrated a big one, like, rather recently, but I don't remember.
Maybe they had, couldn't have been 10 years ago that they celebrated 40. No, it was the 40 year thing was like at least I want to say 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. Cuz yeah,
Right?
they had a big celebration, and Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake were the hosts of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, SNL's been around for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
You know? So,
Since the 70s at least.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I give them props for the fact that they've, especially, like, again, going back to Drew Gooden's video and looking at these older episodes, it's kind of weird. Like, I would never, like, some of them I'm like, this is not funny whatsoever. But I bet you, growing up, someone was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, having to change with the times, and again, finding new crew, like, I will give them props. Yes, they're not going to obviously hit it out of the park every time.
Yeah.
But I give them props of how hard they work. And again, they build sets on like that same week sometimes, like costuming, makeup, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't want to be mean. I'm just like, yeah. Guys,
No, that's
really
fair.
hard. Yeah.
That's totally fair. Yeah, I think it's when comedy's such a hard thing to write, and to do it in such a short time is yeah, it's definitely a challenge. But then like kind of tying it back to like the Is It Cake show and stuff like that. I guess yeah, like sometimes you wonder like are they like where's the strength, you know? Like how is this guy good for that like what was it about his strength that they figured would be funny for Is It Cake, or was it just like he was available and they were like, okay, be funny, you know, like
right? Like, did they just be like, hey, run with it, or did they have a weird scripted idea?
Yeah,
because there was one moment that I did find kind of funny where but to be fair, was the contestants like pulled a prank on him, where they're like, let's come up with a word in like cake, like in the realm of baking, and just pretend it's a thing. And so they like convinced him of this word, and they're like, oh yeah, it's when you're like smoothing out the glaze or something, and like they totally were bullshitting him. And so he was trying to legitimately be like, oh yeah, like I know what this is too, and they're just like laughing at him. I mean, which is kind of mean, but it was really funny. Like like that moment. Like usually when he was interacting with the other people, then I was like, this is good. Like this is good. But yeah, I feel like I do wonder like at what line is it like the writing in the room versus how much they give him to improv. Yeah. Again, improving is also very difficult. I was gonna say I have horror stories of doing improv in high school.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no.
No bueno, you know.
You have to have a certain like muscle flexed for sure to be able to do the improv. But I was gonna say I'd even argue too, like I love Nicole Byer. I think she's hilarious, but I truly don't think she's as funny on like Wipeout when she hosts with John Cena as
Oh,
she
I was
is.
gonna say I haven't seen. I was only gonna watch because of Nicole Byer and John Cena. I thought that was a funny
Yeah.
duo.
Well, that's too, right? Because I'm like, man, John Cena's funny, Nicole Byer's funny, like that should be good,
Mhm.
right? And like you remember the old Wipeout, like the guys on there were just hilarious, right?
Yeah.
And like she's still funny, but like just the dynamic between the two of them doesn't mesh. He's got his own style of comedy, she's got her own style of comedy. So when she cracks a joke, it's just kind of John Cena going. And then same thing with him, like he'll just kind of be like, well, blah 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 blah, and she's just kind of like looking at him, sort
Right.
of thing. So it's like this weird, yeah, it's very
Mhm.
awkward.
And again,
But
that's
yet,
another thing at play too. Is like, how do you interact with other people?
yeah,
Like, it is a complex, So it is. I don't know. Once people are like, "Oh, this isn't like," yeah, you're allowed to be like, "This isn't funny," but
yeah,
understand that there's so much at play, so much at work to like
yeah,
get
yeah,
things to like where they need to be, kind of thing. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I get for a lot of people, it's like I don't have enough time in my day, so I want to be able to turn something on and have me laugh instantaneously.
Yeah,
Which I get, but at the end of the day, like if it doesn't work for you, just turn it off. Find something else. As we just said, there's so much on Netflix. Again, you said you saw Batman. Batman's on Crave now. Like there's so much to watch.
yes.
So like, if it doesn't work for you, don't cry about it. Turn
And
it off.
everybody,
Find something
yeah,
new.
yeah, and everybody's got their own sense of humor. Like they're so
Mhm.
no one's got the same sense of humor, and I think people try to be accommodating in most ways. Like there's a certain group of comedians you watch for a certain type of sense of humor, and then
Oh
there's like
yeah.
other ones you gravitate towards for like more like goofy kind of
Oh,
whatever
100%.
slapstick humor and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's just a matter of what you find funny.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll do it for today's episode. I'm not tired. You're tired. If you liked this content, please feel like giving us a like. Leave us a comment down below. Did you watch any of these shows? Did you watch any did you read any books recently? We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
Helps us get inspired for more episodes.
Mhm.
And we would appreciate if you would subscribe. Because I don't know, because we want to. I don't know. Help us with the algorithm, all that fun jazz.
Yeah, lets us know that you guys enjoy what we're doing and you want to see more, and we just appreciate the support.
The Kendra does it more eloquently. My brain just goes. It barely functions most days. But yeah, anyways, guys, watch all the content, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monkey, monkey.
Monkey, monkey. And
Slap. Nailed it. Oh, excuse me.
Nice.
Whew.
Excellent.
Woo. My lord.